We live in a challenging world. And so what conversations should we have with our children about how to live counterculturally in this world? One of the key areas that my parents helped me learn to navigate the world is to always be in a state of prayer. Romans 12:12 says, "Rejoice in our confident hope, be patient in trouble, and keep on praying." And I'm here with my dad, and his dad was a man of prayer. Mm-hmm. Grandpa was a farmer. He had a deep faith, simple prayers often, but just taught you how to pray, and you taught us about the importance of prayer.
My dad lived his life led by the Spirit.
Yeah.
And one thing that comes to mind when I was graduated from college and was heading out into the ministry to my first church, he took me aside and had a conversation with me. Among the things he said to me, one was, always be ready to pray. You're a child of God, and because you're a child of God, you have direct access through the Spirit into the throne room. And when you pray even praying with unbelievers, you take them with you into the presence of God, and they can feel God's presence, even though they might not understand it. And prayer was the first thing he talked to me about. Then he gave me some advice about being a pastor, because he knew that I would encounter lots of people and circumstances. Mm-hmm. And he said, always remember, son, the servant of the Lord must not strive. Love people and fight the devil. Don't fight people. So I started in ministry with that in my mind. 10, 12 years later, I'm talking to my dad and I'm reminding him, asked him if he remembered what he said to me. He said no, so I reminded him that he told me to love people, fight the devil, not fight people. I said, Dad, you didn't tell me that the devil uses people. And his face got serious and he said, yes, son, that's true. But never forget Jesus died for them. Mm-hmm. So your response is still a response of love. That lingered in my mind through all the various encounters of 50 years of ministry.
Yeah, Dad, that is such an important message today as we see so much fighting and criticism and judgment happening in our world. And, Jesus reminded us and told us that the people are going to know us by our love for one another and our love for him, and he called us to unity. How do we keep that in the forefront of our heart and mind when things are so frustrating around us?
Well, you have to remember that God's love goes out to all people. We base our relationship on God's love for them, not our encounters with them. If we see people through God's eyes, we see past the conflict, past the hurt, past the bitterness, and we see redemption, grace, hope, mercy, and love. And that tempers our emotional responses.
Amen and amen. That's such a great word, Dad, and so important for us all to keep in our heart. I think all of us can turn our hearts to Jesus and pray for that to be true in us today, in our world.
The enemy will give us lots of opportunities for fights. We just need to only be fighting the devil, not the people.
Amen. God is love, and he calls us to bring that love to the world.
It's true.
Amen.